Are you allowed to fix the stuff you buy? Maybe. That's why the right to repair movement is making waves. Let's talk about it. When you buy something, do you own it? As in, can you do anything you want to that object? Common sense says, yeah, of course I can. If I want to torture my phone by throwing it off of ridiculous heights, I should be able to do that. But what if you want to fix that device? You should be able to take that thing to anywhere and get it fixed, right? Aha. That's where the sticky part comes in. Some companies who sold you an item still want control over that item, even after it's in your hands. If you had a right to repair, companies would have to share information with others. That would mean that users and third-party companies would have access to the necessary tools, parts, and manuals to repair a product they've purchased instead of relying on the manufacturer of the product. So let's highlight a few situations that got people talking about the right to repair. Back in 2016, Apple updated iOS and some people found their devices weren't working. Now, why was that? Error 53. If iOS noticed that a home button with Touch ID was repaired by an unofficial company or individual, Error 53 would pop up and brick your phone. Error 53 would also show up on damaged iPhones. If the iPhone worked fine with that repair before the update, Error 53 would put an end to that. Apple's official response was that an unauthorized home button with Touch ID could compromise fingerprint data. Apple later issued an update to unbrick iPhones and apologized for any inconvenience. Then there's John Deere. John Deere's policies caused some issues for its customers. Farmers had to sign a license that meant only authorized repair shops could work on tractors. So if a farmer wanted to fix something themselves, nope, that wasn't allowed. If they wanted to get a mechanic to work on their tractor, that's not allowed either unless that mechanic is authorized. For a tractor to get repaired, a technician would have to hook the machine up via USB to authorize the part. And then there's the medical community. COVID-19 put a huge stress on medical equipment in hospitals everywhere. A report by the United States Public Interest Research Group, or USPIRG, likened restrictions on fixing medical equipment to tactics used by Apple and John Deere. The USPIRG said that manufacturers refuse to provide access to service manuals and design machines to require calibration software to activate new spare parts. That software wouldn't be available. So why won't companies just let you repair your own stuff? One argument manufacturers use is safety. Let's dive into Apple's statement on Error 53. It says, quote, "We take customer security very seriously, and Error 53 is the result of security checks designed to protect our customers. iOS checks that the Touch ID sensor in your iPhone or iPad correctly matches your device's other components. If iOS finds a mismatch, the check fails and Touch ID, including for Apple Pay use, is disabled. This security measure is necessary to protect your device and prevent a fraudulent Touch ID sensor from being used." Here's John Deere's official statement on its policies. Software modifications increase the risk that equipment will not function as designed. As a result, allowing unqualified individuals to modify equipment software can endanger machine performance in addition to Deere customers, dealers, and others, resulting in equipment that no longer complies with industry and safety/environmental regulations. Both are similar. If you get a repair from an unauthorized vendor, there could be safety concerns. Is this safety argument even true? The United States Federal Trade Commission issued a report that breaks down the entire situation. It's called Nixing the Fix, and FTC reports to Congress on repair restrictions. The United States has the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. It contains what is known as an anti-tying provision. I'm going to delve a little into the law's text because the text is super important. That provision bars manufacturers from using access to warranty coverage as a way to obstruct the consumer's ability to have their products maintained or repaired using third-party parts and independent repair shops. Well, if that's the law, how are companies getting away with such a tight grip? The FTC listed the following ways companies manage to restrict repairs even with that law in place. There are product designs that complicate or prevent repair. There's the unavailability of parts and repair information. There are policies or statements that steer consumers to manufacturer repair networks. Sometimes there's disparagement of non-OEM parts and independent repair. There could also be software locks and firmware updates, or everyone's favorite, end-user license agreements. The FTC report takes on the safety argument directly. The agency said that, quote, concerns that the safety of users, repair personnel, and the public should not automatically justify restricting repairs to authorized repair networks without further analysis. The FTC also said that manufacturers have not provided factual support that authorized repair people are more careful, or that independent repair shops fail to take safety precautions. Now just think about your car. Do you trust your local mechanic any less than the dealership? The FTC report has a strong-worded quote by Vermont State Senator Pearson about this matter. Quote, when we think about motor vehicles, I think we would all agree an automobile is one of the more dangerous products that we own and we control. To say that consumers should not be permitted to take electronics to a repair shop is basically insisting that our cars have to be repaired at the dealer. We've rejected this argument as a society, and this has to do with a ton of steel that we're hurtling down the road, you know? We'd be wise to do the same when it comes to lightweight electronics, heavy washing machines, everything in between. End quote. The FTC also mentions that manufacturers can choose to make products safer to repair by design, by the way. That's always an option. Then you've got your right to repair advocates and their arguments. Here's what they say. When you have restrictions to repair, these things can happen. Timely repairs are delayed. The price of repairs can rise. It can cause harm to the environment and threaten small businesses. A piece published by Smithsonian Magazine way back in 2016 pointed out what incentives companies have to make their products hard to fix. By controlling repairs, the company can make money off the repairs. This can allow for repair prices to be higher. The article pointed out it was more expensive to get an iPhone battery replacement from Apple compared to other places at the time of publication. A difficult to repair device can have an environmental impact. If you can't repair something, you'll likely buy a replacement. What happens to that broken device? It needs to be disposed of. E-waste is particularly worrisome. The EPA says it has serious concerns about unsafe handling of used electronics and e-waste in developing countries that results in harm to human health and the environment. The EPA also mentions the danger of toxic materials leaching into the environment, which can lead to workers having irreversible health effects, including cancers. So, what legislation is happening now? There's an organization called the Digital Right to Repair Coalition, also known as the Repair Association, that is pushing the right to repair to states. The coalition explained that its primary intent is to lobby for repair-friendly legislation. On its site, the Repair Association listed its milestones, pointing out all the different states that have filed repair-friendly bills. According to the US PIRG, 27 states have introduced or carried over right to repair legislation in 2021 as of April 22nd, 2021. But there's more. A Huffington Post article said that Apple has lobbied against right to repair legislation. This assertion was backed by public government filings. The article also cites Massachusetts Representative Claire D. Cronin. Of the right to repair legislation, she said, quote, "It has certainly come to my attention that Apple is opposed to this bill." End quote. So we've got states trying to get something done with the right to repair. Companies have their arguments against it. Then we've got an executive order by President Biden. That order, quote, encourages the FTC to limit powerful equipment manufacturers from restricting people's ability to use independent repair shops or do DIY repairs, such as when tractor companies block farmers from repairing their own tractors. What do you think? Should we be able to get our devices fixed by any person, including ourselves or third parties? Sound off in the comments. If and when any substantial movement happens, we'll have updates here. So subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to stay informed. I'm Ayaz Akhtar, and I'll see you online.